You're in a meeting. A deadline was missed. A campaign failed. Something important slipped through the cracks. People are frustrated. No one can quite explain why it happened. You think you know. It wasn't one person's fault. Things didn't line up. Work got stuck somewhere, but when it's your turn to speak, the words don't come. And that's the real problem. You saw the issue, but you couldn't name it. This is where knowledge begins, not just in what you see, but in how you speak about it. Knowledge means having the words to describe what's going on, words that reveal the hidden patterns.
A word like bottleneck tells people where work is getting stuck. A term like lead time, time from order to customer receiving, shows how much space you need to plan ahead. A concept like flow explains how things should move to create value and what happens when they don't.
These are not just technical terms. They're cognitive and communicative tools. Tools to understand, to explain, and to lead. In this video, I'll show you how learning a few core supply chain words can change the way you speak at work and give you the confidence to be heard, understood, and trusted.
Most workplace problems aren't just about people or effort. They're about coordination. They're about timing. They're about things not flowing the way they should. That's where the language of supply chain comes in. It gives you words to describe how work moves or doesn't. It helps you see the invisible structure behind the problems. And once you can see that, you can change it. Let me show you what I mean. Here are some real-life situations that feel chaotic until you have the right words. You're in marketing. Everything was ready. The campaign looked great, but the printed materials arrived too late, and the whole launch fell flat. It's not that the printer failed. It's that you didn't allow for lead time. Now you know the word. You can name the problem. Next time you plan better or negotiate differently. You manage a service desk. Your team is burned out, calls are piling up, the pressure never stops. You realize the schedules don't match peak hours. There's no buffer. No slack. No flexibility built into the workflow. Now you can name that too. And once you name it, you can fix it. You walk into storage. Boxes everywhere. Nobody wants them. They weren't supposed to be there. What went wrong? Sales didn't match expectations. Procurement ordered too much. Production didn't slow down.
These are not just technical terms. They're cognitive and communicative tools. Tools to understand, to explain, and to lead. In this video, I'll show you how learning a few core supply chain words can change the way you speak at work and give you the confidence to be heard, understood, and trusted.
You're flying to a conference. Your first flight is delayed by 40 minutes. You land, sprint to the gate, but your connection's already gone. You're rebooked, you lose your seat, your bag gets misplaced. What happened? This isn't just bad luck, it's a dependency failure. One part of the system didn't account for the tight coupling of another. There was no contingency in the schedule. Now you know how to explain it. And airlines that understand this can design better experiences, more resilient connections, smarter routing, and real-time updates. You're accompanying a loved one to the hospital. The doctor orders tests, but the results are delayed. The follow-up is unclear. Nobody knows what the next step is. You wait days to hear back, even though time is critical. This is a workflow breakdown. The patient experience isn't failing because of one person. It's failing because coordination between labs, records, and clinicians is fragmented. Now you can name it. You can see where the handoffs don't align. You can ask better questions and demand better systems. It's 3:45 p.m. You leave work a little early, pick up your daughter, navigate traffic, find parking, grab her violin, and rush into the music school. Everything has to click. If one part is off, if you're held up in traffic, if she forgets her instrument, if the class schedule shifts, you're late. She's upset. The stress builds. This is logistics in everyday life. It's coordination, timing, Flow. You are managing a micro supply chain of time, resources, and emotions. And when you name it that way, you can actually improve it. Maybe leave earlier. Keep a checklist. Pack the violin the night before. It's not about doing more, it's about seeing the system. Every time you learn a new word, you gain a new kind of power. You don't just talk about symptoms, you talk about causes. You don't just share opinions, you share clarity. And people start listening. Let's ground this in what knowledge actually is. Michael Polanyi said, "We know more than we can tell. That's tacit knowledge, what you know from experience but can't always explain. It's powerful, but if it stays inside you, it can't help others. It can't influence a system. That's why learning terms like bottleneck or lead time matters. You're turning tacit insight into shared language, making the invisible visible. This is exactly what Nonaka and Takeuchi describe in their SECI model of knowledge creation. Socialization, learning through shared experience. Externalization, putting experience into words and images. Combination, connecting ideas into systems. Internalization, turning new understanding into action. Externalization is the key. It's the moment knowledge becomes useful to others. It's how we learn together. It's how systems improve. But this is more than theory. It's about who you are becoming. The German philosopher Nietzsche called this the will to power. Not domination, but the inner drive to shape the world through understanding. To grow, to clarify, to act with purpose. Because here's the thing, your workplace, your home, your routines, they are not separate. They are connected. You live inside a network. And when your actions support a shared purpose, that network becomes a system. And how well that system works, how creative it is, how resilient, how meaningful, depends on your ability to speak clearly, see patterns, and coordinate with others. So this is not just a professional skill. It's a personal ethic, an act of empowerment. You use your words not to impress, but to connect. Not to dominate, but to contribute. That is leadership. That is meaning.
So let's return to where we began. You're in that meeting. Something went wrong. People are guessing. You speak up. We hit a bottleneck in the delivery process. Our lead time was too short. Coordination between teams broke down. And suddenly people understand. The fog clears. The work can move forward. That's the power of words. That's the power of learning to speak supply chain.
The takeaway is this: when you find the right words, you connect the dots. You make systems visible. You help people align. You make complexity manageable. And you grow, not just as a professional, but as a person. That's what knowledge does. That's what your voice can do.
If you want to keep building this vocabulary, if you want to speak with confidence about how systems work, my Supply Chain Management and Logistics book and course is here for you. The course is rather simple, mainly a motivational tool including monthly webinars where we can interact directly. You may pose your questions, propose discussion topics, and more. See in the link below. It's practical, clear, and built for professionals in any field. And the book goes even deeper, designed to make complex ideas simple and simple ideas powerful. You already know more than you can say. Now it's time to say more of what you know. Learn the words, speak the system, empower your voice. That's where change begins.